Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, let's talk about a slower paced life. The past year, the world has changed and we've changed along with it. One of the blessings in this time, we've deepened a bit in our priorities, and maybe there's a way we can continue to choose, deepen in ourselves, deepen in our self-care practices, and even become more effective in the work we do. Our inspiration? I'm talking about some healing edges today, and I wanted to offer something special just for you. And we'll have a letter from a friend who's asking, how can I live more joyously, more intentionally, instead of just getting through the day? This is going to be a good one, so come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, beloved. It's me, Robin. Happy to be back with you. This is Tea with Robin, episode 131. 131. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I hope you enjoy the snacks. This is a podcast about the healing journey for spiritual peeps. That would be us, interested in living a life down to earth, out in the world, enjoying our time, and also waking up. Yeah, dealing with the stuff that happens on the journey in inspiring ways. Friends returning, hello. How is the weather in your heart these days? I hope that you have been really practicing. You've had some lovely time to rest and take care of yourself. And, if you celebrated Easter, I hope that was nice. If you celebrated Passover, I hope it's been lovely this season. It feels like spring is always such a beautiful time to seize the opportunity to be refreshed and renewed ourselves. Not to just turn to the spring cleaning routine and getting our tires rotated and getting the windows washed and, exchanging all the laundry in the house, all the linens. It's a time for us to refresh, rejuge, to fall in love again with the feeling of renewal. Yes, so I hope that you have been feeling some of those vibes and attending to them as well. Over here, it's been a lovely week since I spoke with you last. We celebrated Easter. We made our famous Hawaiian pizzas and watched the 10 Commandments. At the time of this recording, we still have 30 minutes to go. I think it's 3 hours and 40 minutes, so we just have about a half an hour to go. If you know the movie I'm talking about, they're just heading to the sea, to the Red Sea. And it's fun. We're laying in bed, cozying up with the window open, listening to the robins and cardinals, and, sometimes the rain, and watching our movie with a cup of tea or a glass of wine. It's lovely. Like I say, this is such a beautiful time of renewal and refreshment, and I hope letting ourselves do what we want to do. So yeah, the weather in my heart has been good. I've got some things related to this topic we're going to talk about today. So let us cheers to all of the refresh, renewal, revive energy of spring, regrowth, rebirth, rewind. Cheers. I have my Earl Grey tea, a little sea salt, and I was going to say water, and stevia. Very good in my big cup, the big one, the venti. So friends, today I thought I really enjoyed hearing from many of you about the rest episode and the Glad Heart episode last week. I know sometimes you like to get caught up on the podcast and you'll listen to several in a row and you'll send the sweetest messages with a jumble of cool things from lots of different episodes. And I love that. And it sounds like what's been resonating for a lot of you is rest, self-care, and choosing a glad heart, choosing to be easy, choosing to make your own meaning, choosing to release more of the worry and chaos from this time. And that's beautiful. I'm so happy to hear that. So today I wanted to continue along on that theme. And it's interesting because sometimes, let's call this the slow life movement in a way. I feel like that's the life I'm living now, especially since the pandemic began. I think I was in the makings of it, preschooler. Like before the pandemic happened, I had started sort of compartmentalizing parts of my week and learning how to have whole chunks of days off for myself and whole days of work if I wanted to do it that way, and just to really be immersed in that which I love, but not the old pace, thinking back 5 years ago, of just like every single day, working every single day, trying to get some play in every single day, trying to cook a gourmet meal every single day, all these things that just create so much freaking stress, but we don't seem to get off the hamster wheel. Sorry, hamsters, but you do like your wheels. Yeah. And our egos like them too. We get on there and just really run our little hearts out and struggle with it. So the slow life movement to me is learning how to make ourselves the priority, and not make us the priority, but to understand we are the priority. We are the priority. Our health and wellness and our mental health, honoring all aspects of our being is the priority, because we're all we've got. I mean, we take care of the body because it's a container for the soul, for the essence of who we truly are. We take care of the mind because the ego, the identity self, can really run away with the show at times. So we hopefully are here awakening so we can learn how to tame and help and love all these different parts of ourselves, and also honor the needs that we're having. So we are the priority. And in a slow life, aliveness is a priority. Aliveness is the priority. Doing what you love is the priority. And loving what you do is the priority. And I mean that by, who doesn't have to do laundry and clean toilets and earn money, pay the bills. Just think about all the things you have to do in a day where maybe you don't show up with a glad heart, So finding that place of balance, that place of joy, and allowing ourselves to have it how we want it to be, without the resistance of the self-judgment. Without worrying that you seem like a princess, or a spoiled brat, or a lazy person, or a selfish person. So slow life, or you could say minimal life. Enjoy a little, play a little, go back and work a little, rest a little. And I hope that if you've been exploring this like I have, you're finding that the pleasure we've been seeking in other things, and I'm not knocking any of this, but okay, so yeah, I'm not. but the pleasure we've been seeking about building an identity or building or acquiring material things, accolades, achievements, something like that. The pleasure we once sought in things like that, for those of us awakening out of that place, we understand that the joy you can find in ordinary moments, it really is something. When you're present with what you love, doing what you love, when you're present with yourself and doing life the way you want, when you're awake to that, present with that, it's an indescribable joy. The joy you experience from taking care of yourself, hanging out with a friend, like I said, curled up on the bed watching a movie with some tea and your beloved, spending time with your kid and really having a good connection together. These are moments that are, I'm saying ordinary because we think to feel good, to feel alive and proud and all these things. There's some kind of a story about we have to achieve, which means we have to work really hard, which means we have to struggle. What if we allowed ourselves to be indescribably happy doing less, living slow, resting, honoring our self-care, taking extra time to prepare delicious meals, taking extra time to be slow instead of running around busier than you know what to do with. We're moving, I hope, into a period where we can slow down and handle a slower pace, because the Course in Miracles talks about this in a slightly different way, but it says if you really knew what you were here to do, here in this world, here in this life, it would make you indescribably happy. And our function is to remember. Our function is to remember our enlightenment. We are one with spirit. We are spirit in a body, expressing ourselves as us in our lifetime. And it's enormously helpful. It's enormously helpful when we remember all of that. Because you can be in a day where you get caught up in something related to your status or your status. You know, you can worry about money, you can worry about your aging, you can worry about your career, you can worry about your love life. And when you practice remembering, you know, I really came here to be indescribably happy, to experience joy, to bring joy wherever I go, to help others wake up and remember what's really important. It helps ease things. It helps ease things when you worry about, like I say, those situations. And also, hopefully, if you are exploring more of a slower living, where you're allowing your rest, where you're choosing your rest, not just because you're, as an old client used to say, beat to shit after a long, long day, that you're choosing rest just because it seems like a nice thing to do. You know, you're learning to care. You're learning about the importance. You're learning about it's like 8,000 trucks, vans, and an airplane just descended in my neighborhood. That's what I'm waiting for. You're learning to, that's funny, take a pause. You know, you're learning the importance of yourself and how much you matter and how much what really counts is not what can be earned or put on a piece of paper about you. And you're choosing to remember that. You're choosing to be proud of your self-care, taking care of yourself, prioritizing your needs, honoring what works for you, noticing when you feel stressed, noticing when you feel pressured, and doing something for yourself about it because you get it. You get it, you get it, you get it. You matter. You know, when you're tired, that you stop working, that you don't wait for other people to remind you and tell you and make you a priority, that you choose yourself as that. The more we practice, the better it gets because it's a built-in protection from things like the stress of the day, the false evidence that appears real sometimes. Something happens, a crisis happens, or you have some kind of conflict happen, or there's a looming deadline, that you're able to keep it in check because you're like, hey, this is me and I'm in my life, and it's a good life. It's a slow life. It's a beautiful life. I can deal with this thing tomorrow or whatever, gives you so much perspective and a sense of depth of knowing of yourself. And it is just such a better experience. Yesterday I was taking a little time reading through the mail I get from the Love Posse. I send a letter out every Wednesday. You're welcome to sign up. It's here in the show notes. Subscribe. You'll see the link. I spend the morning answering emails, and I often tell you here, I'll write people back and say, can I use this email for the podcast? And usually the answer is yes. One of the emails I got was so interesting because it was a letter from somebody that if I spelled it all out for you, I know you would say, wow, what a fabulous slow life, beautiful slow life. And the person was saying, even though I know I have all these things around me in this pace, which I've created for myself, this life, I suffer so much at my thoughts. And there's been this long-standing conflict with a friend, which occupies a lot of the time. And, as I read the letter, I thought about how many of us think that money or less work would solve all of our problems. Having a slower pace, if only we could have that. I don't know, what's your fantasy? What's your perfect fantasy? If only all my debt could be wiped out. If only I had $1 million saved up. If only this. If only my cancer was cured. If only I could get pregnant. If only I found that magical partner. Whatever it is, there are people out there living that exact life who are suffering even more than you are. And I'm not saying like it's a comparison or they're suffering so you would suffer too. I'm saying we have this story going about it's always better in the future, or if only I hadn't done this thing in the past, my now would be better. And it's such a great reminder when I talk to people who have so much more or seem to have all that we would want or the answer to our prayers, and they're still struggling. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous reminder that the mind you live with, what's in your head, is what needs the work. You could be upset about something that brings someone else such joy, You could be totally carefree about something that plagues someone else to no end. And so we really want to find the way to say, hey, let's play, okay? Let's stop this today, okay? Hi, this is a gorgeous, beautiful life. And right now, in this moment now, it is perfect now. So back to the email, I get it. I get it. You can have these things going on and it makes everything feel so challenging. Sometimes you can look back and think, wow, I really spent a lot of time on this thing, this topic, this upset, this conflict, decades, being upset about something or striving for that degree or that acknowledgement or that accreditation, whatever it was. But, we can't look back in sadness and regret. We've learned so much. We've grown so much. And now it's time to take ourselves to the next edge. And by edge, I mean that place you normally hit when you're upset or you're down or you're having a hard day or you're facing your regrets. You're in the past, you're in the future, you're having that conflict, that same old with your partner. You know what I'm saying? You come to that one thing that happens where it gets hard. That's an edge. That's an edge. So our work right now, I feel, is to get to the next edge. There's always going to be another edge, my friend. This idea of hunky-dory. I think hunky-dory exists when you can be at peace with your upset, when you can be forgiving of your own crap and the crap of other people's crap. You know what I mean? When you can be easy, that's hunky-dory town. Before we get to that place, we have these edges to work, and it's all right. It's all right. Nobody is a failure if they have an edge. I have a gajillion edges. Yes, that's a real number. Honestly, I wish more of us were proud of all the work we've done and how far we've come and how good we are now, despite the edges we have and the wobbles we entertain, and that not every day feels hunky-dory. Despite that, so what, by the way? So what? I be proud of where you're at. Yes, so bossy today, isn't she? Whew. We've come a long way. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. What's the next place? Instead of just settling in, what else would you love from here? Are there resistance particles clinging to you as you're trying to make your way? Do you judge what you would love to do if you made the time to do it? Do you have worthiness issues? Does it feel like you've never earned enough? You've never earned it, that time to take for yourself? Or do you find that you waste a lot of time in the day thinking about how you're not making your life count the way other people do? Each of us has these edges. And it's a beautiful thing. Somebody else wrote me this week and said, I'm way too angry in the day. I'm way too angry when people do things and say things, when I watch the news. She said, that's what I'm going to work on, is not being so angry about everything. And yes, it's beautiful. We have to let ourselves come into balance. As they say, body, mind, and spirit. We need to practice remembering all of who we are. At the heart of it, we need to let ourselves do the things we love and rest, self-care, especially practices that make you feel luxurious, like we watch the movie in bed, in our cozy bed with the windows open, and in the daytime instead of late at night after work. Little things, spending some time letting yourself do the things you love, and I keep saying it, among that is rest. Along that time is rest and prioritizing yourself, because you matter. Your needs and your wants and your desires are never unimportant. But I know we were wounded in ways that made us feel like they were. So it's up to us now to choose, to make that space for us, to make that time for us, and to risk our own significance. If the mind does start to chatter, to figure out, how do I wake myself up? How do I say, hey, put the finger out, hey, stop. This is your sacred time. I find, for me, when I check in with my heart and I'm really present. The other day, this is just a tiny example, but instead of doing anything else, I sat down and played a game of solitaire. My grandma was a big canasta fan, and I never learned how to play like canasta as solitaire. I'm not sure. She played by herself, and I just remember a glass table out on her lanai full of cards all arranged, and my dad would take me over to see her and he would talk to her about the game, and she had FM 100 playing and probably a Manhattan and listening to music. And so the other day I played solitaire with FM 100, okay, a playlist of that kind of music, and, like Glenn Miller, In the Mood. And I just played cards. I didn't multitask over 8,000 things like we do. I didn't talk on the phone and play cards. It was beautiful. And my point is, it wasn't a very highbrow activity, but it was incredibly pleasurable to me. And the feeling I got from that was so good. And B, I can't deny that it fed more things later in the day and the next day and the next day. You can feel so brilliantly so alive when we do this. You might realize that letting yourself do some of these things, slow living, intentional living, allowing yourself space to do what you love, including self-care, including the way you want to work, all of it, you might notice such a shift in your being, a slower pace and ease that carries forward through your days. And it helps you be in a state to get other things, what we would call hard things, done, to face hard challenges, difficult times. There is a buoyancy added because you are moving at a pace that is calm and centered and grounded, connected, however you want to look at that. It's different than being a frenetic, anxious, flitting from thing to thing to thing, dropping all kinds of balls. The things you say you're going to do, you don't remember, you're not following through, you're overcommitting. If you recognize that in yourself, this will help. What I'm talking about today will help you enormously. Slow down. Decide to be intentional with your day. Choose an edge you want to start working on, a place you regularly, I wish more of us would do this. I hope you will hear this today and, be inspired to do that. We have to keep going in our practice of allowing ourselves to rest and allowing ourselves to self-care and self-love, and keep trying on new ideas about what it means to live your life in a way that's fully alive, where you really own the responsibility for your joy and your pleasure and your ease and your rest. And, I know it's not perfect, but you don't waste many days in a row lamenting what you're not doing. Because we're here now, and now is what we've got. So, as I'm saying all of this, I wonder what your next edge or practice is for you, what it is you need to do to put some of this into place, to allow yourself to go beyond. And I encourage you, write it down. Make yourself a note. Put it on the refrigerator. I am willing. Start with that. I am willing to. I am worthy of whatever it is. And I'm always here to help. Sometimes a session with me is just the ticket. There's information about that below in the show notes. Cheers. Inspiration today. It's been a while since we've done a healing together. And it came to me that while I was just talking to you, that sometimes it really is a powerful experience to offer up what you've been going through. You know, if you thought of a couple things that, as I was talking, that have been challenging for you, or, you know, any edge, a place of stuckness, a place of blah. Hi, this has been the year. The other day I said, it just kind of slipped out, before the world changed. I said to somebody, before the world changed. And I thought, I heard myself saying that the rest of the day in my head. The world changed when COVID happened. You know, there's been a lot. And I know I say it a lot here on the podcast that there is a pressure that I don't always feel we realize is there. Just the sheer amount of not just, you know what I mean, the sheer amount of worldly things going on, the awakenings, I always tell myself I'm not going to get into listing everything, so I won't do it this time. But it can be very heavy, and so your self-care, your healing, it matters. So let's do a quick healing together. I have missed this back in the days of morning magic. Every day I would be live on Instagram. We would do a healing. So I've got my little kit right here, my singing bowl, a beautiful crystal candle. I have a Palo Santo stick, beautiful. Let's call it today, we'll call it the wood of the saints, if you've ever smelled it. It's got healing properties. And my favorite matches, I always like old school, and even a little incense. So what I'd love us to do, and you can be driving, it's fine. You could be taking a walk with me and listening, it's fine. You could be cooking dinner, it's fine. But, you know, if you want to do this, take it seriously, right? Just like anything. So in this moment now, what is it that you would like to transcend? What is it that you would like to have more of for yourself? I'm going to go ahead and light a candle. I'd rather we talk about this once it's lit. There we go. That way I just use the candle to light the Palo Santo. Okay. So I'd love you to think about the edge you're working with right now. One place you've been a bit stuck. These are the Robin words. Of course, you have your own way of saying this. Place you've been stuck, place you've been angry, somewhere inside of you you've been feeling lost, or the old and familiar. Just call that forward for a moment. And I'm lighting this Palo Santo. There we go. So just imagine beautiful wood smoke, sweet smelling fragrance coming over your energy field. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. In this moment now, I offer this message, this energy, this issue, this thing I'm thinking about, to the open expanse. I open this up for healing, for release, for it to be transmuted. Help me to see more clearly what it is my next steps are. And help me, please, to love myself more deeply around my own care and nurture. Help me to take it seriously. Help me to love myself better. Deep breath, and I'll be quiet for a moment. What else would you like to add into that prayer, to that offering? Okay, good. And so it is. Filtered through the light of spirit, I recall and reclaim and reintegrate now the light I truly am, the power I've always had, and the joy I'm ready to make my own. And so it is. So, this little Palo Santo to cleanse you. And if you felt something, I would suggest taking a shower, taking a bath, getting out into the fresh air and just moving your arms about, moving your arms and legs to get some energy moving, to cleanse. And for those of you interested in taking it a step further, make an offering. You know, when I say open it up to the expanse, make an offering to your angels if that feels right. Make an offering to the universe if that feels better. You'll know what to do. You know, sometimes you can gather a few things out in nature and create a little spot just to say thank you and kind of like game on. I want to do this. I want to improve these things that I know have been heavy for me, you know? Yeah, beautiful. So thank you for joining me in that. Wonderful, wonderful. So before I share today's letter, this is the part where I like to ask you to support the podcast. And I also have a little announcement to share. So supporting the podcast it's so good. It just really, I appreciate it, but it really, it really helps people who are already looking for this kind of love and support to find it. And the reason I ask you to share with a friend is the people we connect with. Usually we find so many things together in common that it's usually a wonderful discovery when you share a podcast like this with your friend, or you share it in your stories. If you're on social media, it can be an amazingly right fit for people. So I'm asking you to please consider sharing, and I always welcome a donation if that's more your speed. You can buy me a cup of coffee or a cup of wine, a cup of wine or bottle of wine. I thank you so much for offering support, and a review is always a nice way as well. You can do that, and I thank you in any which way you choose to support this beautiful love getting out in the world. Now, the announcement I wanted to make is in my healing practice, I am now officially offering a sliding scale for sessions. I know this year with COVID, it's been intense. I have been sitting with this for a long time, and it comes to me that the sliding scale is really a beautiful way to go. It honors everybody. Many people I spoke to when I was thinking about doing this said, I want to stick with what I've always paid. I've always offered packages that have a big discount, so that felt right for them. But I wanted to do something that, this feels really good to me. So if you're interested, there's information below under book a session. Here in the show notes, you'll get to it. So I wanted it to feel possible for those of us who have less work these days, or your exchange rate makes it challenging. I know I hear this a lot, and I've always done a sliding scale unofficially. I've just never had it officially. Unofficially and officially, so it is officially there. I hope this helps bridge the gap for some of you, and I thought that would be an important thing to share here. So I hope some of you this helps and makes you happy, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Cheers to that. Yum. Tea. It's a good thing. Remember Martha Stewart? Oh, it's a good thing. Not too long ago, I forget which channel we signed up for on, oh my goodness. Once you ditch the cable, I'm talking about TV here, people. Once you ditch the cable, you're just all into the little boxes. I know they're apps. I'm just being funny. But it does. You turn your TV on, it's like 8,000 boxes of all different apps. The little apps on your TV. I mentioned many episodes back this show called The Last Alaskans, which I just love watching shows about people who are living life, differently, off the grid, slow living, homesteading, that kind of stuff. It's very exciting to me. Not that I want to live off the grid, not that I'm going to move to Alaska. I can't even picture having to do some of the things they do, but it's so inspiring. And God, where the heck was I going with this point? This is the stuff I normally edit out. Oh, yes, right. I saw that Martha Stewart has a show. I signed up for Discovery Plus so we could watch The Last Alaskans. And I saw that Martha Stewart is still doing her show. It's kind of entertaining. All right, but back to our beautiful podcast. And let's read a letter. If I can read a letter for you, please write to me at hello@robinhallett.com. There's a link in the show notes to do that, or you can always message me on Facebook or Instagram. I have a great letter today. Sometimes things converge, I tell you, where a topic will come up and many people will be talking about the same topic. Nobody will know that because I'm the only one that reads your email, or I'm the only one listening in the healing sessions, but many of us will have stories in common. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of you really loved the talk about the last two episodes, intentional living, what we're talking about today, slow living. If I was really in charge of this, talk about a psychic ding, huh? Whoa. I love it. If I was really in charge of my day and I was really choosing intentionally, how would this go for me? And so I got a text from a certain mama I know, and she writes, "Hi, Robin. Your podcast just got me back to thinking about what during the day would I be doing if I wasn't trying to just get through the day. What could I do with the kids that would breathe life into me? I'm not in a bad place, but what could make my heart even gladder? What could make the routines full of delight? like your beautiful lunches. That might not be mine, but maybe more singing and dancing while cleaning, maybe more art with the kids, puzzles, and things like that. Thanks so much. Of course, I asked if I could read this letter because it is so relatable. I hear it all the time that we peoples who take care of other peoples, it's so frustrating sometimes, first of all, to feel like you're not the one who gets the special goods. You get the special, nobody's making you a lunch. You're slogging through the day. You're trying to get everything done so you can have your time, all those kinds of things. I was talking to another friend about Easter. A lot of us over the holidays, that feeling where you do everything for everybody else and there is no you in that time, it stinks. Like, I don't want to clean and prepare and set everything up for everybody else and not get to enjoy that myself. There are things that we run into in a day where we find ourselves in this place. So it's so beautiful, this question, what would we be doing if we weren't just trying to get through the day? And, at some point, I have to say, it's not okay to just be pulled in a lot of different directions by the people in your life or the work in your life. At some point, how many times have I said at some point in the last 5 minutes? I think it's been a lot, but at some point, you have to take responsibility for throwing yourself under the bus and then running yourself over at the same time. It's all down to you. So if you don't like how it's going, you got to ask the question, what would I be doing if I was intentionally living this slow life, this beautiful life where I think about myself and I think about my day and I don't just want to slog through it? Those of you who feel totally overcommitted or like there's never any downtime for you, you're going from thing to thing to thing. Sometimes I watch friends who live like that and I'm just like, oh my goodness. But they don't know yet, Once you know, it's really hard to keep doing it, isn't it? It's really hard to keep going like that once you realize what's happening. We don't have to live this way. We're so worthy and deserving of a beautiful experience. And I'm not talking about, fancy when I say beautiful. I'm saying how you want it to be, how you want it to be. It can be special every day if you want it to be special every day. It takes courage. You will have to set priorities. You will have to set boundaries. You will have to learn how to let other people judge you. You know how I'm saying, let other people judge you. Like, you'll be worried about that inside your own mind, and you won't make that your priority, whether or not people are judging you for seeming like, you're lazy, let's say. That's one I've had to work with. This is our life. This friend who wrote here is a mama with lots of kids. There's several of you I know like this, with lots going on, lots of high activity. You literally cannot pee by yourself, like almost ever. And how do you do it? And the first thing is stop saying you can't. Stop saying it's impossible. I don't want to get any hate mail, okay? I don't want to hear anything. Just delete it now. I'm not even going to read it. Sometimes I see these memes going by on Instagram, and I want to say, I feel like we need a meme B. We need a B side for all of these memes I see. Do you remember 45s? There was an A side and a B side. And the B side was never as popular of a song as the A side, but you got two songs on this record. And so the B side is the meme that actually tells you to take charge of your own life and be responsible for everything that is happening to you, take responsibility for it. The A side is like, everybody sucks and just cancel them out and poor you. The B side is like, we are all free and we have a choice, and we can intentionally choose how we want to roll in the day. It sometimes takes a lot of courage to make a change. It takes many months sometimes to wake up to patterns. It takes several arguments before it sinks in to your bones that you keep running into this same dilemma. You know what I mean? Events, family events, where there are breakdowns and things happen till you realize you need to do this differently. So celebrate, number one. If you're in a place where you want to have delight in your day, and it is possible to have daily delights, that's not like a myth. It's not a myth. You don't have to suffer in order to have joy. You can choose the joy. You can choose the delight. And as I was saying earlier, the ordinary delights, the stuff that seems so boring at one point, a quiet afternoon playing solitaire, listening to FM 100, hey, that is like my paradise. I'm not struggling with anything in that time, It's great. It's wonderful, but you get to design your own way. This morning I planted, oh my God, I didn't even tell you about the garden this week, but I planted new seeds for my garden in this new idea I had. It's so exciting. An explosion of flowers in a trellis that's going to take over this wall that will help block some of the mountain. The house next door, I'm calling it the Italian villa now. It is ginormous. There's going to be an explosion of color and beauty. So if you have things in your day that are a slog or a grind, or it's just not fun, or you're not enjoying it, you get to change things up. What could I do that would breathe life into me? What a gorgeous question that is. And to also say how you said here, I'm not in a bad place, but what could make my heart even gladder? The everyday routines full of delight. Right, because how good can we stand it? We don't always have to have a problem to want to know how to make things better, we can just, how sweet it is. We can say that, how sweet it is. How good can I stand it? How good can I stand to let myself have it? And yeah, that's why I take the time to make a beautiful tray for myself. I make it special for me. I go the extra step. It's not a mile. I was going to say the extra mile, but it's just a small step to include myself, to make it beautiful. The last thing is, don't forget, you're not here serving your kids and everybody else. I think that is a weird mentality we get into. As you find yourself in the role of mother or helper or father or step-parent, whatever it is, you find yourself in that helper role. People who teach yoga and they have to set up the space can find yourself in this place where you feel like you're only serving everyone else, but you're always there included, and you must include yourself, and you need to think about, how do I come first? I found it when I got married. You slip very easily into roles that you observed. That homemaker thing, I might be good at it, but I don't love to serve to the exclusion of my joy. You know what I mean? Did I say that good? I think I did. 5 stars, yes, or more. I want to be part of. So if we're going to have a party and I have to be there cooking the whole night, no. But I'm responsible for creating that. And frankly, you got to do it a few times before you realize it's not working. So hopefully something in there sparked some joy for you. We matter, we count, and it's all right if you want to think about yourself as well. It's important. A lot of people tell me they don't sleep great. What about thinking about a new sleep routine, a new sleep place for yourself? Get creative. Allow yourself to be free, and things will change for you mightily. Yes, there you go. Well, friends, cheers. Thank you. That wraps another amazing Awesome Sauce. Episode 131 is in the can. I think I'm going to call this episode Slow Living. And like I say, could always use another letter or message me about something you love that you'd like me to talk about here on the show. Well, it's Friday as I'm wrapping this up, still honoring my process of podcast editing before the weekend, and I'm really liking it right now. It's kind of like what I was just saying. It gives me the opportunity to have a whole weekend off to myself, even though I work in healing sessions on Saturdays sometimes, but it's still nice to not have that pressure. And I have a feeling number one and I are going to enjoy another afternoon in bed with a movie, and I'll probably make a homemade pizza with Phyllis, the sourdough starter. She's very versatile, that Phyllis. Yes, she is. So that's what I'm off to do. I hope you're off to do something fun too, and I'm going to see you back here in a week or in a few minutes if you like to binge listen. This has been me, Robin Sparks Joy Hallett, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.